Welcome to Create Your Happy, the podcast that empowers conscious women in life, relationship, and business. I'm your host, Christy Holt, happiness, hussy, and conscious funpreneur on a mission to change the world one beautiful soul at a time. Now get ready, because on this very special bonus season, we are going to take your entrepreneurial journey to a whole nother level. These uncut conversations are designed to support you as you unleash your entrepreneurial brilliance upon the world. My incredible guests and I have come together with a shared vision to empower women to fully embrace their humanness, find their unique voice, and lead with love. All right, gorgeous, it's time to get curious and become inspired. It's time to create your happy. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's masterclass. I'm so excited to have with me Nichole Howson, and she is a social media manager. I like to call her social media manager extraordinaire, and she is here to help us today to stop wasting so much time on our social media content so we can get it streamlined and organized in one afternoon for the entire month. Now, who does not want to save all of that time stressing and worrying about keeping the social media cog going? So welcome, Nichole. I'd love for you to share a little bit about who you are, your background, and what kind of brought you into this place that has you so passionate about helping people with their content creation before we dive right into all of the strategies.
Sure, yeah. So thanks for having me. I started my business 9 years ago. And one of the things I found is as I got more clients, I was like, okay, cool, this is awesome. I don't have this much time to do content for 20 people every week. It's too much. And I don't have a system. And realistically, I want to continue to grow my business and hit 20K months, but I was like, I don't have the time. And so I was like, something's got to give here. And so one of the things I did is I sat down and I looked at, okay, realistically, what is the process of everything that I'm doing? And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is a little bit of that. And so I looked at that, and I actually did some scientific research too on how the brain works and how to create content and bulk create content in a way that it saves time because of the way your brain works and everything. Yeah. So I was able to look into that and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool once I sat down and did it. And so I used to it's funny because people used to joke about it and tease me a little bit, but I used to create a year's worth of content for my business and for my personal account in a week, and then I wouldn't do anything for the rest of the year other than to pop in and look at comments and stuff like that and make sure things didn't go out that were inappropriate based on current events and stuff. But the rest of the time out it went, and I didn't have to worry about it. And so I did that for a long time, and it worked really well. So I was like, you know what, if I can do this, I can definitely teach people how to create a month's worth of content in one afternoon.
I mean, I am definitely thinking that I could probably learn some tips today. So I'm really excited to share some things that I've learned along the way, but also to hopefully learn some new ideas, some new strategies to make it hopefully even easier. Because as you have said, it shouldn't take you hours and hours and hours every week.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just it.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Let's dive right full on into this topic, and let's talk about how do we get that clarity, right? So that we can sit down, because we need the clarity, right? That's usually the problem, is the lack of clarity. If you can't plan more than today's social media because you don't have a plan, just start with the clarity and start with the strategy. So lead us down that path. Where do we start, and how do we start formulating that strategy?
Yeah, so there's two kind of aspects to the beginning of this. The first is having a content schedule and strategy created. And so when we look at this, one of the rules that we kind of follow is the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time you're providing pure value, you're engaging your audience, you're not outright selling at them. Obviously you're nurturing those relationships because you do want to sell to them. But 20% of the time is an outright hey, come join this, or this is what we're doing, or whatever. The rest of the time, it's just let's build a relationship with our audience. I find that a lot of people are really good at doing this in Facebook groups. And then for some reason, there's a disconnect and they suck at doing it on Facebook pages. And you're like, what are you doing? Yeah. You know how to do this. And so this is something we literally will be like, okay, let's stop focusing so much on selling, and let's build relationships with the people that are following us. Because honestly, if I'm following a business and they're constantly saying like, oh, this is our sale for the week. Okay, great, whatever. But unless it's like a grocery store that I shop at every week and I really want to know, I'm not going to follow them, because I'm like, I don't want this in my feed. I couldn't care less. And honestly, most of those grocery stores, I don't follow them. I just go look them up when I am going shopping.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to follow something that's constantly just promo, and engagement and stuff like that. So what we do is we sit down and we create a content schedule for the week. So we have content pillars. So like Mondays, let's say Mondays are quotes, and then Tuesdays are some sort of tips or education based on your industry. Wednesdays could be like an article or something, or a video, and you just kind of break it down with all those different ideas. So that way, every single day of the week has like a specific focus on it, where you don't have to overthink it, and like you don't have to be like, oh shoot, like have we done too many promos this week or whatever. You can actually like see that. Doesn't mean you have to follow that, because sometimes things come up and you're like, hey, I want to promote this, or I want to do this, and that's fine. You can mix and match, but it just helps create kind of a strategy to start off of. And it saves you so much like the constant like thinking like, oh my gosh, do I do this, or what have I done, or what have I not done? Because we get in our heads and we overthink everything, or at least I do. So it just makes it really easy if we can like have a strategy and have it set, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
And I found like the craziest thing happened when I did more or less what you suggested, because I was resistant to it. So this is like a funny full circle story. So just hang in for a second. I was working with this coach, and it actually ended up not being exactly what I was working with them for that I ended up getting out of it. What I got out of it was actually this wild permission slip to just be me. But what I got out of it was this, I think it was like a 2-month, basically content strategy plan where every day had something specific to talk about, or like one of my pillars in a sort of organized format. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it was easy once I saw it all laid out. And then immediately, as soon as I had it all like perfectly laid out, I was like, I actually don't need this. Everything was flowing so much more easily. So most of my content I don't do on a scheduled sort of thing. It's like some stuff I do, some places I do schedule things. And sometimes I schedule it just for tomorrow because I've got a good idea and I just want to put it out there and it's going to go for tomorrow. But honestly, the idea of having something set where you don't have to think about it freed up so much mental load for me, mm-hmm. that I freed myself from being stuck in general, even though I didn't totally follow the plan. So even if you're resistant and don't really want to follow the plan, there might be something valuable about setting up sort of a strategic plan so that you can stop overthinking about it, stop keeping yourself stuck in analysis paralysis, which means you're maybe not posting anything. And it's just this peace of mind to know, if I can't come up with anything creative, I've got this whole plan, right? And pull anything from this plan, easy peasy. And wondrously, the ability to create just flowed forth for me. I don't know if that happens to your other clients too, but it is kind of like a permission slip, right? You don't have to spend all that time thinking and seeking. And whether you follow it to a T or not, it's really helpful to have that in place.
Absolutely, for sure.
So what do we do with that? How do we take that content pillars and how do we then take it to the next step? How do we, there's all kinds of schedulers out there. Some people can schedule right in Facebook as well. I've got other apps have schedulers. What do you suggest? How do we take all of that information that we now have and put it into play?
Yeah. So, I'm a very visual person. If I can visualize it, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm good. I very much need to see the calendar and see where pieces are and everything like that. So one of the things we do is we use Trello, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit later. So I won't share all the details, but we use Trello and we build out like a calendar of that. So we attach the image of the video and the caption and everything like that in there. And it allows us to be able to see like, okay, this is what our week looks like. It even makes it easy to see like, okay, we have all our branding colors, obviously, but are we using like all pinks and then all blues? So it just, or are we mix and matching it where it doesn't, it's not like, oh, okay, that flows nicely. So it's you're able to like even see that just by looking in Trello, which saves a lot of time and energy. So I'm very much, I like visualizing it. There's schedulers out there that can do that as well. I just found Trello was easy for me because we have so many clients. It makes it easier to keep track of everybody because everyone wants to use a different scheduler, which is fine. That's totally fine. But if we have one place where we have all the content and it's the same system, saves us so much time and energy of like trying to learn all the different things and figure out who's where and what and all that fun stuff. So,
and like, as we were just chatting briefly right before we went live, like learning the system can be a bit of an obstacle at the beginning because it's like, oh no, now it's this whole other system that I need to figure out. Mm-hmm. And I think people be like, oh, it's so easy. And then you're facing it, you're like, don't fucking look easy to me. I don't know what I'm doing. Right.
Exactly.
But the truth is if you just persist with it a little bit, you will figure it out and things actually do tend to get easier. I didn't really persist myself with Trello, but I have other ones where I definitely at the start was like, oh my gosh, like this is supposed to be easy. Why am I so lost? Mm-hmm. But it just takes time, right? To learn how to navigate around a new software, a new program, new system. So just give yourself a little bit of grace and lean into these things. Get some support if you need to teach you how to use the things, right? So always options available for you out there. So, okay. So creating the calendar, laying it out, that's a really super helpful tip because I don't know about you, but if I look at my grid on Instagram and I'm like, oh shit, I posted the exact same thing like 3 times, I'm just like, oh, okay, now I feel like I gotta get the grid right and all this stuff, right? And it's like, okay, just like you said, like, let's just get it spread out so that it has like a nice aesthetic appeal once it all is out there, right?
Exactly.
So what is our next step? We have this sort of like visual layout. Mm-hmm. But I am already wondering, and I don't know if people watching are going to be wondering, how are we getting all of the information for the layout? Because I want to just go back one step here, because I think a lot of people that struggle with content creation is because they're not sure what to say or how to say it or when and where and all the aesthetics of how to say it, right? So can we, for a moment, back up a little bit and go a little bit deeper on that piece of things and really figuring out what and when and how to say the things that we want to communicate?
Yeah. So with the content pillars, it makes it nice and easy to be able to look at like, okay, so let's say Mondays are quotes. What kind of quotes are we looking at? What is our audience relating to most? And so if you think about that, one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is go collect like a ton of quotes at the beginning. There's a gazillion different websites. Honestly, you type in like motivational quotes for teachers. There's like 101 different quotes that are related to that. So I literally just take the link and then we go through, we pick the ones that we think will relate the best to our audience, and we just work our way through that list. So makes sure that we don't use the same quotes over and over, but we're also using a wide variety, and I don't have to sit there and be like, oh, what kind of quote do I want to do today? It makes it really easy. Same thing with like engagement questions. One of the things we do is like we'll ask an open-ended question at some point. We were talking a little bit before about AI and how this conversation go either way, but I think we're on the same page. With Chat GPT, one of the things that I do is I will go in and I'll ask them like, what are 20 different questions that I can ask financial advisors about blah, blah, blah. And then it comes up with like a ton of different options. From there, I can go through and be like, oh, okay, these are some good ideas, or, oh, this sparked inspiration on this. It gives me ideas on what I can come up with, because sometimes, like, honestly, we have so many different clients and so many different brands and topics and industries that you're like, what do I do? So it gives you kind of that ability to kind of brainstorm that way. And so it's one of the things I love about it is the brainstorming piece. It saves so much time instead of me sitting there racking my brain. I used to have to like Google or go on Pinterest or whatever and look at what other people are asking, and it saves me hours just by asking.
It really streamlines the process of some of the research because it can do a little bit of the extra, the Googling and pull together the Google results in a way that actually just skips a bunch of steps for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, yes, I know people love or hate AI in general. I mean, I don't know how people can't hate automation because I think most of us are using automation in many, many ways in our life. And to say that we're against automation probably is not accurate for anybody to say that because, well, we live in 2023. So there is automation everywhere you look, but it is a really helpful tool. It's not going to replace you. It's not going to do your job for you. There is a human component of, human expression that can't be replaced by a robot yet. Anyways, I don't know. Who knows what's happening in the future? I don't know. Like, we'll see. But, it's an amazing tool for idea generation or, one of the things that I love it most for is if, say, I have sort of a list of things, a list of key things that I wanted to cover, maybe it's in a presentation or a talk or any area, really, this piece I'm trying to create a piece of content around, I will here's what I'm thinking. Is there anything I've missed? And then it's either will prop me up and be like, that looks like a very inclusive, perfect list. No, it doesn't say that, but, or it will come up with some really good ideas that I may not have thought about. Absolutely. I may have missed. And so that to me is like a little extra helper in my pocket just to say, have you considered this other idea that maybe you just might have missed in the moment? So absolutely. I love it for that sort of idea. Like, what's another word for blah, 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 right? Or I like these words in my title, but like, can you rearrange them in 10 different ways so that I can see them laid out? Because I am like kind of a visual person. And if I can't see it, I'm like, I'm not the best at imagining it. Like, if I want to know how the room is going to look, if I rearrange it with the couch over here and the TV there, I need to put it there. I can't like just in my mind be like, I imagine it will look like this. I mean, I can, but only to a small extent. So any tools that can help me take what an idea is and put it into like a visual representation, I am grateful for. So thank you. Absolutely. All of the incredible tools. We're going to talk a lot about some more of the other incredible tools that exist out there further in the conversation. So let's bring it back to the topic at hand. So now we sort of have this system. It's sort of like boxes for each topic. And I want to share one insight that I would say would work well with this is that I have multiple notes in my phone. And so whenever I have an idea, a thought to share, and I don't necessarily always want to share, like sometimes I'm like, well, I've already posted like 4 things today. Feel like I'm good. I have sort of just an accumulated running document. It's a note in my phone with all the ideas. And so then on those weeks where I'm like, oh, I'm not really sure what to post. Like maybe my creative juices aren't flowing. Maybe I'm a little distracted with something else. I have this great stuff that I've already written. Exactly. Primed and ready to go. And so you could easily do that with the quotes as well. When I use one of my pieces of content that I've created, I just delete it from my note so I don't do it again. And I also keep, which I'm sure this is going to be really helpful. I haven't really started reverting back to using it yet, but I also keep a record of all the content that I posted and can recycle all of those. Like, I think I could probably go 2 years without content if I just use that document. I mean, it could be on repeat actually, but not all of the things are always relevant to the topic that I'm talking about. So it's helpful though to have something I can search because Word doc or Google Doc is searchable. So I can pull out, well, what do I want to talk more about? Relationships. I'll just search my document, see what I come up with, right? So having sort of these records means that you're not doing a lot of this work twice. So I just want to share those small insights. Now unless you have something more to share on that, let's talk a little bit more about the bulk creation, because there's a lot of ways to simplify this and create incredible graphics and such without the overthinking, basically, without the overthinking.
Yeah. So when it comes to bulk creation, one of the things that I do, and it's, again, we talked a little bit at the beginning about how like, I did like the scientific, like the way your brain works. And so the way it works is your brain, it takes up to 7 minutes to fully engulf into an activity. And if you're multitasking or jumping between things, you're restarting every single time. And so you get like in a groove and then you're like, oh, and now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so I refuse to do that now when I create content. So I literally would go and Mondays, let's say we're doing quotes again. I'm just going to use this. Mondays are always quotes now. Mondays are quotes. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to find all the quotes. And then I'm going to create all the graphics of the quotes. And then I'm going to upload them all. And then I move on to the next thing. So I don't even write the captions at that point. I just create all the graphics across the board. And then I do all the videos across the board. Once everything's kind of built out, then I write all the captions because it's using a different part of my brain.
Yeah.
And so I can just bulk create all the content. I'm focused on one thing instead of jumping back and forth between, okay, I'm creating graphics and now I'm writing captions and back and forth. I love listening to music while I do it, but I can't listen to music when I'm writing captions. I can't do it. My brain,
It's too much.
It's too much. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't focus. But I listen to music while I'm creating graphics because it's easy for me and it makes me work faster. So, that makes it really easy too, to be able to like, okay, we're going to do this first and then we're going to do that. And then, it speeds things up. So,
well, it's all about efficiency because, like you said, when we're quote unquote, air quotes, heavy on the air quotes, multitasking, because we're actually not, science has proven we're not actually multitasking. We're just switching back and forth.
Exactly.
And like you said, also science has taught us that we lose our momentum every time we switch. And so what are we all doing? We're on our phone, we're on our computer, we're, the dog, I need a snack. We're up, we're down, we're in, we're out. We don't know what we're focusing on. We're all over the place. And basically none of it, when we do that, is very focused or efficient. Because it takes a certain, I can't remember percentages, so I would only be making numbers up, but a certain percentage of time to get back to the place of focus where we were before we switched. And now if we're constantly doing this, like honestly, this TikTok world has us with an attention span of like 3 seconds.
Exactly.
We're literally never focused. So if we don't get intentional about, okay, I'm going to focus on doing one thing, and I do very much what you have said with a lot of my content, depends which platform. I'm really good at like being very like, I'm going to create graphics and then I'm going to upload them into the Pinterest scheduler thing. And I'm going to write the blog post and then I'm going to post the blog post and then I'm going to do but it's like, it is sort of methodical, like one focus on one piece of the puzzle at a time.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing this, if you're creating multiple pieces of content, you can do this really quite easily. Like Canva has the most incredible bulk create tools in there. Like honestly, I use it for a number of things. You can like create a spreadsheet with all of those quotes and boom, it will create for you the graphics for all of them. It could be all the same. You could change some of it. Like it's incredible. So anyways, that's, I kind of already like led us into a little bit into talking about Canva and the bulk creation stuff, but is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we move into sort of those resources and tools specifically for that?
Yeah, so we could talk a little bit really quickly about video as well. So this is one of the things I started talking about before I started teaching like how to bulk create everything. I've been doing it for years, but I didn't really think people were like, oh, I really want to learn about this, until I was like, oh yeah, I can create a month's worth of content in like 2 hours. And people were like, what? And I was like, wait, people don't do that? And so part of it is the fact that I've been doing this for 9 years, so I'm just really good at it. Not to like toot my own horn, but it comes with practice. But the other part is just the system of it. So when I'm creating videos, like when I'm on TikTok, when I'm creating videos for TikTok, I will literally throughout my week be like, oh, this is really cool, inspirational, like this is good for inspiration on something. I could relate this to my business or my brand. So then I just hit the save button. I don't do, like record them right away usually. I just save them off. Then I do my hair and my makeup and I get dressed really pretty.
Yeah.
And then
so you feel good.
Mass record all of them.
And it's not about looking good for anybody else. It's about like you being confident. So whatever that looks like for you, just get to the place where you're feeling really good, really confident, where you are going to go and make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I find I'm more confident and in a really good, if I'm in a really good space where I'm like, yeah, I'm recording videos, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be 110%. I'm not 110% all the time. Like
We can't be. We
I
can't.
get off Zoom calls and I'm like, I hate smiling.
It wouldn't be human of us to expect that level of perfection. So I
Exactly.
agree, like 100%. You got to do this when you are feeling the vibe for the video, because if you aren't feeling the vibe, if you're not feeling yourself, feeling that energy of confidence and I've got this, that will come across in your videos too. So it's actually really important, not how you look. I mean, just show the fuck up as you. And if you love sweatpants and hoodies, be you.
Yeah.
But show up as you and feel good about how you're showing up for you, because it's just that energy that will reflect in your content, right? And so if your videos are kind of like half-assed, you're not feeling the energy of like, this is really important, I really want to share this, I really want to reach people with this message, I really want to show up and show them what it looks like embodied, got to do a little bit of intentional prep work, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's not the day, it's not the day, and that's okay too. We all have all the compassion for ourselves. Some days are not video days. That's totally okay. And technology, I always like to joke, like, I only have to do the front part of my hair. So, you know.
I love it. Yeah.
So videos, do you do like one video per week? I'm curious about how you incorporate videos into your bulk creation. Like, what is your what's the magic ratio? Because I know that videos, for me, my videos tend to get a lot more reach. Well, it's either the videos or the color block posts tend to get more reach. And on Instagram, none of it gets any reach, but that's a whole nother conversation.
It's a whole nother masterclass, but yeah.
I don't put a lot of effort in on Instagram because it's not my vibe. I'm like way too real for that shiz. You know what I mean? Like, I am showing up like messy middle, just doing life, and it's not so curated as a lot of Instagram is. I'm really okay with I'm okay with standing out a little bit like that over there. But videos they keep saying are the way. Facebook really pushes videos much further than regular content. TikTok is all about the videos, right? YouTube, all about the videos. There are so many platforms that are so video heavy. How, Nichole, do we keep up with putting out all these videos?
Yeah. So, like I said, so I'll create content. I post one a day usually. Sometimes I'll post two, especially if like one's like really heavy and like educational, and then there's one like goofy one. Kind of just it mixes it up a little bit. But so I'll create enough content usually for like one a week, or one. And I'll create like a month's worth of content sometimes. It depends on how many things I have saved. There's resources out there that'll send you like a list of trends for the week. And so I do that a lot where I'm like, okay, this is a trend, I'm going to record these. But you kind of have those options. I have one recording day a week where I go live in my Facebook group and possibly somewhere else. And I'm getting back in the habit of doing that because I took a break for the summer. But yeah. So doing that and showing up and educating and teaching and everything like that, I just have it in my calendar. So Tuesdays at 11 o'clock, I do this, and yeah, off we go. So it's even like just creating a schedule and a system for that. Everything is decided ahead of time. Everything's figured out ahead of time. I don't do last minute anymore. I don't do it with clients, and I don't do it with myself because I don't have time for that. Obviously things come up sometimes and we're like, oh, I really want to post this. I'm great, fine, whatever. Yeah. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't post today, and then panic and be scrambling on my phone trying to create something. I can't.
Yeah. That's like that safety net that I'm talking about, right? Like, honestly, even though I didn't really follow it per se, the safety net that I knew I had something planned there actually released me from the pressure of having to create all of the time. And so when I was in a space, because we're human and we are going to be from time to time in a place where we're not feeling very fucking inspired. Like, and that's okay. So it's nice to have that backup, that safety net to be like, oh, okay, not feeling particularly inspired. I don't know. All I could say is wah today. And sometimes I do post nothing in that energy, but like my process of getting myself unstuck from that energy can be really valuable to people. And I don't tend to stay there very long.
For sure.
So sometimes I will even post in those wah kind of moments, the self-talk that I use to help myself get unstuck. So it's not about being inauthentic. It's just about being intentional with what you're sharing, right? And the energy behind it. Like, I don't share that because I want everyone to feel sorry for me. I want to show other people, here's how you can get out of that mind loop, right? This is how you can get out of like those shitty, heavy feelings that make you feel uncomfortable in any kind of way, so that you can start, getting out of the funk faster, so you can start living your best life, so you can truly be fucking happy, right?
Absolutely.
Because life is too short to be lived stuck in our not so comfortable zone.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Nichole, share with us some of these other incredible, we kind of touched on Trello. I know you have more to share about Trello. We kind of touched on Canva. I know you got more to share about Canva. So where do you want to go first? What of these resources, and I think maybe you even have more resources than that to share, but we've already touched on those two. So let's start with one of those two and then explore some of the other resources, because we could all use a little assistance. And I wanted to also just really quickly say that if you're really stuck on a TikTok idea or anything like that, again, I'm just going to throw out there that ChatGPT has helped me take a long form post and create a TikTok out of it, like full script, full fucking direction, creative direction. And I didn't follow it exactly, but it was you can get very specific, like screenplay type level information to create your reels. So if you're feeling a little bit meh about creating a video today, there's one other little simple idea. You could always go and ask ChatGPT for some ideas based on whatever topic that you kind of want to share about, or maybe you have a piece of written content, you can convert that. All kinds of ways to get some juices flowing in the creativity department. Okay. And with that note, back to you, Nichole.
Awesome. Okay. So like we were talking about earlier, we use Trello. That's one of our big ones. So when it comes to like, not so much bulking creating content, but like bulking our tasks, making it streamlined and everything like that. I go through, depending on what you're doing. If you're working with clients, then there's an extra step to this, or if it's just me, when I create content, I'll be like, okay, this is good. And then I mark it off with a specific label in Trello. So I can be like, okay, this is yellow, this is good to go, do all the stuff. And so then my VA comes in. You can do this yourself too. If you don't have a VA, that's totally fine. But my VA comes in and she's like, okay, all these are approved and I'm going to schedule them all. And so it makes it easy for me to be like, okay, this is what needs to be done. Oh, this one doesn't have a mark. What did we forget? What needs to be done here? And so it keeps my brain organized in a way that I'm not going to constantly be like, did we post that? I can't remember if that went out. And then you have to like look up at your Facebook page and you're like scrolling through and you're like, no, I don't think I posted that. So it saves you all the back and forth of trying to figure out if things have been used or not.
Yeah, that would be valuable for sure. Or even just where they're at, so that you can then take where I have the graphics ready. Now I'm on to whatever the next step is in your process. Maybe it's writing the captions, right? Yeah. And do those in those chunks, because then we can focus. We can try to focus because focus, but we can really focus on just doing one task at a time and staying in that zone.
Absolutely. For sure.
And what about, do you have more to share about Trello?
I think that's the majority of it. I have resources if you want to learn more about Trello and everything. I feel like I could go on for Trello for another hour, and I don't think we have all day. So, but yeah, no. So Trello's a great resource. Canva is another one that I use all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, especially when you have the Pro, just because I can create content and be like, okay, I want to take these and I want to create a post for Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and a pin. And so I can just resize everything and then go in and tweak things really quick. Instead of being like, oh shoot, like, is this the right one? Or and like recreating things and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've done this 20 times, because you have. So it makes it so much easier. So we do this for one of our clients. Literally, they need a Instagram story, a Twitter post, and a Facebook Instagram post. And so we just create the Facebook, Instagram posts. We do all of those, and then we resize them, do the tweaks real quick, and then off it goes. I can literally create a month's worth of content for them in like less than 2 hours, just by automating it through Canva. It saves us all so much time and energy. So,
and when you know about some of like, this is maybe not super intuitive, but inside of the apps, I was going to tell you all where I discovered this bulk create thing. It's inside of apps in your, I don't know if regular Canva has it or not. I have Canva Pro. So if you don't have Canva Pro and you don't have this in your apps, I apologize because I don't know if it's in there or not. But in the apps, there's a bulk create one. Like I said, you can take like a background. So say you do quotes every Monday and you always use the same background for your quotes. You can design your template, and then you can literally upload a spreadsheet kind of style information. It could be, you know, the quote itself, then it could be the name of the quote. They could be in different fonts. It will populate as many I'm not having words today. It will create as many graphics as you have quotes and have them all laid out for you so that all you have to do is double check that the sizing and the placement works, right? Because sometimes your quote is longer, sometimes it's shorter. That is so time saving. And then you can export them all like it's probably 2 clicks, but a couple of clicks and boom, you've got a whole folder. I actually recently did some bulk creation. And even if you don't use the bulk create function, it's so easy to copy and paste and create another one and change a little part of the background design or whatever you want to do. Like if you don't have Canva, what are you even doing? I don't know. I love Canva. It's just so fun. And I guess if you don't love playing in graphic design and playing with all of that, then maybe you need to have someone on your team, in your I don't know what word I'm looking for there, but like someone on your team, someone in your community helping you with that stuff, because it does not have to be so difficult. It can be a lot easier, and it can be kind of fun. Actually, I really think it's kind of fun, but I guess not everyone feels that way about creating graphics. I really enjoy creating them. I think it's a lot of fun. What about using Canva for creating some of your video content? Do you use Canva at all for creating I will say I use it more for creating like ads type thing. Not that I do like ads on social media, but like an ad type post, which I will post generally as like a reel or TikTok or use it inside my podcast. Anybody who listens to the podcast will know, actually, this would be a fantastic place for me to put one. I'm just kidding. I might not. We'll see.
Are you tired of feeling burnt out and overwhelmed by trying to please everyone else? Do you find yourself constantly putting other people's needs ahead of your own, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and resentful? Break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and take back control of your life. Learn how to identify and break free from the patterns of people-pleasing that are holding you back. Learn practical tools and strategies to set healthy boundaries and prioritize your own needs so that you can find a sense of peace and fulfillment in your life. Imagine waking up each day feeling energized and excited about your life. Imagine living life on your own terms. Don't wait any longer to take control of your life and find true happiness. The Path to True Happiness and Authenticity, a masterclass for people pleasers.
But those kind of like mid-roll ads and those kind of things as well. Canva is kind of a fun place to play around there with all kinds of videos you can pull there. You don't even need to be in it. I'm not even in any of my videos that are like that style of video.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. For a lot of our clients, we'll create like videos, snippets of them like talking, educating, and then we have the template and everything is just drag and drop. So simple and easy. And just download, and oh my gosh, it saves us so much time. Yeah. Whereas without that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like now we're inside like an app on my phone, or we're doing this and it's back and forth. Oh my gosh, it's just, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to spend 16 hours on something that I know I can do in an hour and a half. It just doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah. And I think there are lots of apps for creating other videos. I also use CapCut for some of the other stuff. there are so many really great ways to shortcut on the content creation without shortcutting the delivery of the value.
Exactly.
For example, I'm not currently doing this with these master classes as much, but what I often do is I also record myself when I'm recording podcasts, because there's always some good snippets that are perfect to create short video content. And so then I don't have to double up, and I don't have to do the front of my hair a second time, right? I can just maximize. And for me, because I actually really feel like I communicate better when I'm just talking freely, when I'm not trying to make it perfect, which I would do if I'm in front of my camera trying to record a specific message, then I'm so focused on saying exactly what I want to say that it doesn't come off nearly as natural as when I'm having a conversation, and just the energy is that much better.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So do you have any other like time-saving shortcuts like that you can share with the audience today, where they can maybe make a few pieces of content out of just one?
So we could talk so much about Chat GPT and all the things you can do there. One of my favorite things to do is like drop an article and be like, can you create me 5 tweets out of this content? And it pulls it together and stuff like that. And so we can do all that. I used to have to do that manually. It saves me so much time, and then I can just go in and tweak things a little bit and make it my own. Instead of like going through and like, oh yeah, this would make a good one. And then, so it makes it easier there. One of my things that I love doing too is some schedulers, not all of them, but they have a bulk upload option. So like you're talking about with Canva and creating that spreadsheet, you can actually do that with a lot of schedulers as well. So you can just put them all in a spreadsheet and then upload them. So I love doing that for Twitter. I should look and see if it's still going on. But like I said, I create content for like an entire year. So like my personal and my business Twitter tweets go out every single day. I haven't even looked at them in, I don't know, over a year. I just literally created a bulk like upload and uploaded them, and off they went. And they're scheduled, and that's it. I don't have to worry about them anymore.
Like talk about set it and forget it, right? Although
exactly.
On most platforms, you need to really be engaging and interacting to get that reciprocal engagement and interaction. Especially I find Facebook, especially,
absolutely,
you need to be interacting. I have a Twitter account. I don't really use it. I started a Threads account. I have one fan. Thanks to Lisa. Shout out to you for being like my one Threads fan. I don't spend a lot of time on there, but it would be actually really convenient if there were a way to schedule that, because
absolutely,
that would be time saving for sure.
Of course. Yeah.
And to say, I just wanted to add to your suggestion of like, I will use ChatGPT to create a blog post out of a podcast. So the content is mine, just repurposing it, pulling out the key themes, pulling out quotes. I think one trick I want to share is to always ask for a lot more options than you think you need, because why not have them do the exhaustive research for you, and then you can pull the 5 tweets that you actually really resonate with most out of that list, right? It just gives you the information you need, takes out the information you don't need. Who doesn't need that kind of time-saving thing? Who wants to read a whole transcript again, looking for...
Exactly.
So, pulling out quotes, pulling out other post content, that is a great way, I think, to leverage the things like ChatGPT to streamline the process. Otherwise, you can do it the long, hard way. That's okay. That's totally fine if that's how you like to do it. But this is a great way of just simplifying it, getting rid of the extraneous information that you don't really require. All right. Anything more for resources on content creation that you'd like to share before we chat about some of the more trendy kind of stuff, like, and hashtags? Because actually I have a lot of questions about hashtags. They are not my best friend. I never know if I'm using them correctly. I'm mostly winging it every single time. And I don't know, because I feel like the guidance continually changes. And like, at one point it was like, use 4,000 of your favorite hashtags, make sure that, they have a range from 0 views to 5 billion views. It's too much, right? So I'm hoping that you can shed some light on this hashtag situation for me, so that I can stop being overwhelmed to the point where I'm usually like, fuck it, I'm not even putting any hashtags because I don't know
I don't even know. Why bother? I don't know if any of them are going to work anyway.
Yeah. So for every brand that we have, we do hashtag research first before we start posting. And so the way it works is we'll do the research of like low, medium, and large hashtags, and then we take a combination of those, mix them all together, and we create bundles of hashtags. So we literally just copy and paste. Be like, okay, this one goes on this post, and then we alternate. Because with hashtags, if we're using the exact same hashtags every single post, Instagram doesn't like that. They will likely shadow ban you because they can tell you're copying and pasting. However, if you're mixing them up with all the different bundles, Instagram could care less. And so that's what we do.
Probably easier to stay on top of that, honestly, if you are scheduling it, because then you can intentionally swap them out, which is a little harder to do if you're just creating content on the fly and trying to figure out what goes with it.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to have to like track which one I was using, and I had them all in my notes on my phone, just a whole thing. Now I just like, nope, copy and paste out of an Excel file, put that in, and off we go. And it is what it is. So it's going to save you a lot of time. And the other cool thing too is you can look at those hashtags or any of them shadow banned, or any of those blocked on Instagram, because if you use them, then your content's not going to go out to many people. Well, that's good to know. And instead of looking every single day and you're like, oh, I want to use this hashtag. Can I use this hashtag? You have them all there already. So it saves you a lot of time there too. So
are there any resources that you love? I know there are different apps and stuff that exist out there for finding hashtags. I never found one that I loved, I guess, or that I was using consistently. I would love to know if there are any that you suggest and recommend and use on a regular basis that people could start using to gather a little bit of research. And I don't know, I think ChatGPT is not great for this because it's especially not in the trend in the present moment. So that's not a great resource, at least to my knowledge.
Yeah. So we just looking to see if it's still up. We have a program. We actually bought it, a lifetime access to it. I think they actually took it down. I don't think they sell it anymore.
Oh.
Which is so sad. But I should look it up. If I find it, I'll send it in the group and everything to you, so that way you can share it. But we just do the hashtag research through there. There's like you said, there's tons of different apps and that sort of thing. I would just look and see like, okay, are these ones shadow banned and everything first before you go too far into it.
Where do you find that out? Because I wouldn't even know where to find out if it's shadow banned. Like, how do you discover that?
Google.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different sites that you can look at. But yeah, I usually just like, okay, are any of these shadow banned? And I don't think that there's a specific site we look at anymore. We just whatever comes up on Google, to be honest.
Okay. Well, good to know. Sometimes Google's a really great resource. It's
exactly
like ChatGPT and Google are kind of the same but different, So
exactly
both very all-encompassing information. Yeah. Okay, anything else that you wanted to share about other trends? Oh, and before we move off of hashtags, what's the current number that you would recommend for how many hashtags we should be putting on a post? Because I feel like it's been 30 and then now it was like I more recently heard like 4 kind of. So I'm like, I don't know what is going on. Are we doing 30? Because that seems like a lot. And then 4 seems like really not very much compared to 30.
So I'm on the team 30. This is one of the most ongoing conversations I have every time. They're like, how many hashtags are we using? And I'm like, I use 30. They're like, I don't know if that's right. And I'm like, okay, well, we could try less. I've tested it both ways. I get the same results either way. Okay. So I've decided I'm just going to do 30. I have them. It's not any extra work for me. I'm just going to copy and paste them, drop them in at the end. So yeah, if you test it out for your brand, see, sometimes it works better one way or the other. If it doesn't, then who cares?
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
I just feel like 30 takes up a lot of real estate in my precious 2,200 characters. So, I'm a bit wordy and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Places be cutting me off. And then I can't put the hashtags because I've already used all my characters. Anyways, long-winded problems. You know what I mean?
It's okay.
Any other thoughts that you wanted to share now that we talked about the hashtag thing? Trends, staying on top of trends. I know you did mention a little bit for staying on top of like some TikTok trends. There were some resources out there. Mm-hmm. And also I know that we were going to talk about cross-posting and how can we mesh all of that together? Because the questions I have around that would be like,
are we posting it all at the same time? Are we posting it like peppering the posts here and there, which that's another layer of complication, right? Be like remembering, oh, I'm going to post this here, there on Tuesday, and then over here on Thursday. And then, so share with us your infinite wisdom on cross posting and anything related to staying up with the trends.
So we've done it both ways. Some clients want it all mixed up together, like in different places. A lot of them are cool with it going in separate places, like all in the same day in different places.
Yeah.
Because you're reaching different audiences on each account. So the people who follow me on Instagram are not the same people on Facebook or on Twitter or wherever. So I'm reaching different people everywhere. So I just post the same thing across the board. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll mix up the picture and I'll change the photo, especially if it's like a stock photo of myself, like I'm from a photo shoot or something, because it's easy, just drag and drop in the schedule at the end. But otherwise, we just do all the same thing across the board. So again, it depends on your brand and what feels right for you. Sometimes people are like, okay, well, realistically, I want my Instagram to be more like on this topic and Facebook to be on this topic. So you can't really reuse content as much. But again, do what feels good to you.
Yeah. And I think that's solid advice, just to trust yourself, to lean into your inner wisdom about what feels really good to you, because what feels really good to you is in alignment with you and is going to have that energy of this feels really good to me behind it. And if you are trying to like sort of fit into a box or just follow a trend without it feeling good to you, if there's like that ick factor, some of you might know like the ick factor from other marketing strategies that you might have seen or used yourself. Looking at you, cold DMs. People have a love-hate relationship with that. It's a strategy. And I think there's a way to, I don't really do that. I focus on relationship building. Yeah. But I do think it very interesting. I've seen people complain about, of all things to complain about, they complain about people cold DMing them to wish them a happy birthday. Now, if you have that kind of, sorry, this is like totally out of nowhere, I know, but it just kind of got on this thought of people really have their opinions about these things. And I just think it's really interesting. Open yourself up and receive the birthday wishes. You don't have to make it mean that people are going to try and sales pitch you on your birthday. And if they do, that's not super cool. But also don't assume everyone's doing that, because I wish everybody on my list a happy birthday whenever I possibly can. And just, there's no expectations. I don't even expect people really to reply. I just like to send out some love.
So I find this on LinkedIn especially, it drove me nuts because I get like 200 messages and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with this. So one of the things I do is before my birthday, I create like a resource, some sort of lead magnet. And then I write up this little caption or like message and like, hey, thank you so much. For my birthday, I'm giving away this for free. You can download it here. And so I just throw it at everybody who messages me. And amazingly enough, it actually builds relationships with some people because they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then they're like, oh, can I ask you a question or do this? So they started the conversation. So I just joined it.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know why people tend to get, I mean, it's a signal to inner work. I recognize that in myself when I get irritated by something. I'm like, oh, okay, something's coming up for me. It's really not about them. It's really about ourselves and taking radical responsibility for how we're responding is going to change the game. And, I'll tell you what, I feel better when I don't assume everyone that sends me a message is trying to sell me something. Some people probably are. I mean, and that's okay. And it doesn't have to be for me. And I can say no, and that's all okay. Right. Like I also can receive a no from other people. It's fine. Right. And so it's just, I don't know how we got on that tangent, but anyways, here we are. It was the cold DMs and it kind of just sent me on a little side tangent. Following the trends, any last minute things that you would like to share on following trends, staying up with
what's current so that we can get our brand out there as much as possible. And then after, if you have anything to share on this, after, I would love for you to share just how people can get in touch with you, any offers that you have, and final thoughts, I guess.
Yeah. So trends, there's two ways you can do it. You can either do it yourself. So like I said, when I scroll to TikTok at 11 o'clock at night, because I'm winding down for the night, not the best idea, but that's, again,
I'm really trying to not do that, but yeah.
Another conversation for another day. But when I do that, I'm like, oh, this would be really good. I save it. Or if I see the same video over and over, I'm like, oh, that's definitely a trend. One of the other things I do is I'm subscribed to a membership, and they literally just send me 2 emails a week with about like 12 to 20 different trends.
Okay.
And so I just go through them. When I get the email, I'm like, yep, this will work. Nope, this won't. And then I'll create them. So there's resources like that everywhere that you can do. I was doing it for a while, then I was like, you know what, I just want to pay somebody else to do this because I don't want to spend time on this. But yeah, that's also a thing you can do. So
yeah, I think like a lot of research comes from just our participating in it, our engaging in it, our observing what's going on. But that is really time consuming, as you said. So I want to just encourage everyone in those areas where you are spinning your wheels, you are not feeling confident, that you are not getting it done the way that you'd like to, reach out, ask for support. Okay. It could be even with just a small thing. Sometimes getting that safety net in place, having a plan of action can be all that you need to really propel yourself into a new inspired and creative space.
Absolutely.
Nichole, let us know, where can we find you on the web, and tell everybody what your offers are and how specifically you can help them with any or all of these things that we talked about today. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so you can find me literally anywhere if you search my name. Nichole is spelled with an H because my parents wanted to see if everybody would spell it wrong. They do. So, so you have that. But you can look me up just by looking my name up on any social media. I'm just about everywhere. Not on Threads, though, surprisingly enough. But that's, again, another conversation for another day. So you can find me just about anywhere. Or if you look up our website, we have a cute little domain name that makes it easy to find it. So it's just Ready Aim Social. So Ready AIM Social.com, and it'll bring you over to our website. Has abilities there. We have a free resource that we can drop for you. I'll send that to you. We're sure you can put in your show notes or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a free content bundle. Goes along with what we're talking about today. It gives you lots of resources and different prompts and things like that you can use. It's going to save you so much time because that's what I'm all about, is saving you time. So I'll send that over to you as well. Or you can ask for it in the Facebook group, wherever you're seeing this. So I have that. And then just in general, guys, I just do social media for clients and stuff like that. I know we talked about that a little bit, but creating content for people, scheduling it all and everything like that. We handle all of that because people are busy and they don't have time. And if I'm being honest, the last 2 months, my interns have created my content for me and my business because I am so busy on client work that I'm like, you know what, you can do this. And so if I'm outsourcing it, you can definitely outsource it too. So
once you have that clarity, right? Because if you don't have the clarity, it's hard to do. But once you have the clarity on what your message is, the things that you really want to get across, I mean, isn't that why we all started our own business anyways, to reclaim our time?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Any last minute wisdom that you would like to drop here, last final thought, or even just a general thought about social media content creation in general?
If you can find a way to streamline something and make it easier or take less time, then do it. There's so many different ways you can save time. We talked about a few of them, but honestly, it's such a wide range of topics and there's so many different things that you do. So if you find a way to do something easier, then do it. And there's always going to be new ways and things that you can do. So just explore it and have fun.
Yeah. And I think having fun, that is, if you can keep that at the forefront of things, have fun. I'm a big fan of the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, or silly, however you want to say it. But it's really just ultimately about making it as easy for yourself as possible while still remaining effective.
obviously. And when you can do that at the beginning and set up those systems in place, it will allow you that space for future expansion. And I think that's, the best way to avoid the burnout and the exhaustion and the having to burn it all down and start over again is to set that foundation in a way that's going to be lasting.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us. I'm super excited to hear what everybody thinks. Are you all going to go out and create a month's worth of social media content this afternoon? I hope so.
Yeah, they are.
As always, I love you so much. Mwah. Let's go do some epic shit, shall we? Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Create Your Happy's special bonus season. I trust this real, raw, uncut conversation will fuel your inner fire and provide you with the practical action steps needed to propel you forward. It's time to unlock your path to consciously creating an impact and leaving your legacy. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with other women in your life who could use a little extra inspiration today. My guest and I would love to hear from you. You'll find the links to connect with us both in the show notes. And if you're ready to take your life, relationship, and business to the next level, I invite you to consider working with me one-on-one. Together, we'll up-level every aspect of your beautiful human journey to create the fulfilling relationships that you desire and deserve. Reach out to learn more about how we can embark on this transformative journey together. As always, get out there, have fun, be you, and create your happy.